The big companies funding Trump's inauguration despite denouncing January 6th. 4 years ago, dozens of companies denounced the invasion of the U.S. Capitol and pledged to withhold support from those who disputed the 2020 election results. Now, many of those companies are lining up to fund Donald Trump's inauguration. The Wall Street Journal has identified at least 11 companies and trade associations that are backing the inauguration, which is on track to be the most lucrative ever, after earlier pledging to suspend or reconsider political action committee donations after January 6th. So I'm going to be down there covering the inauguration. We did donate $50 because for that, they give you a bottle to piss in, and it's going to be a long
exactly,
day.
Yeah. Help pay off some of the campaign debts.
Yeah, you gotta go full Amazon for that. Ford, Intuit, Toyota, and the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America are each giving $1 million. Other major donors that made January 6th related pledges include Goldman Sachs. Too funny. General Motors, Bank of America, AT&T, and Stanley Black & Decker. For Goldman, Intuit, Toyota, and Pharma, that's a company, not the industry. This marks the first time in at least a decade that they are supporting an inauguration fund. After Trump supporters invaded the Capitol in 2021 to protest the results of the presidential election, dozens of companies vowed to rethink their political contributions going forward. Some paused all donations. Others suspended donations to any lawmaker who voted against certifying the 2020 Electoral College results. Some simply promised to factor integrity into their donation decisions going forward.
They've surrendered to the communists.
They have. They're full surrender. Now, as corporate executives hurry to make inroads with an incoming president whose agenda will have sweeping ramifications for the business world, many of those pledges are a thing of the past. See, a lot of big money interests prefer to have somebody who's just unabashedly corrupt like Trump, because at least you know what you're dealing with, right? I mean, he's clearly he went up on stage, and I think, look, I hear they cut a segment of that where he gave that speech in front of the Israeli flags. I hear he literally, at the end, the finale, he literally dropped his pants and shoved a figurine of Sheldon Adelson up his own ass. So they know that this man can be bought. And, that's easier to deal with than people who have to pretend to have some kind of integrity. H-1B visas, I love them. I eat them for breakfast. I've always loved H-1B visas.
No, what's obvious from this story is that one of corporate America's biggest reservations about Trump all along is that they just weren't sure the public would really go for him. Right? He's just too extreme. He's too vulgar. He's too mask off. He's too mean. He's too nasty. He's too divisive. He'll sow too much unrest. There will be too much social chaos. That's not really good for business.
He makes what we're doing too obvious.
Well, also, especially in 2016, he didn't win the popular vote. They were Russiagating him. There was fear that there was going to be social unrest, which is never good for business. But now that he won the popular vote, they're like, all right. I mean, if it works for you guys, it works for us. It's fine, fine by us.
That's it.
What the hell do we care? He's better for us.
That's it. Won the popular vote. Fine.
That's it. All right. Fine. You guys want the fascism? We'll do the fascism. Hey, it's fine. What doesn't matter to us.
I don't know what we're gonna do with this warehouse full of tuck bathing suits. Right. But okay, fine. We'll go with it. Most of the companies didn't comment on the reason for their donation, though some noted that they had given inaugurations for decades, regardless of party. Toyota pointed to a 2022 statement in which it said it was resuming PAC donations, but wouldn't support those who incite violence. Well, then you can't really support any American president, can you? A pharma spokesperson said the company had announced a pause on our giving at the time, and then subsequently added new criteria to guide our contributions. Corporate executives have been flocking to Mar-a-Lago, Trump's Florida resort, in the weeks since the election to meet the president-elect and his team, in the hopes that building a relationship could make the incoming administration friendlier to their causes. Trump has met with the CEOs of Meta Platforms, Amazon, Google, Pfizer, Eli Lilly, and others in recent weeks. Inauguration officials have told fundraisers that they are on track to raise more than the 107 million they brought in for Trump's first inauguration. President Biden's inauguration, in contrast, raised 61 million. See, they like this guy. They love him. They love him. This is not a defeat for them. This is actually very good for them, and they know it. Trump's 2017 inaugural fund received donations of 1 million or more from 18 companies, and this year's fund is on track to outpace that, people familiar with the fundraising said. The Journal has identified 13 companies that gave 1 million or more so far. Donors who give 1 million or raise 2 million from others receive 6 tickets to a series of events in the days leading up to the inauguration, including a reception with cabinet appointees. Hey, isn't that Crazy Eyes over there? That's the crazy bastard who wrote the children's book. Come on over here, you crazy bastard. A candlelight dinner with Trump and Melania Trump, and a black tie ball. Trump aides have said that the fundraising isn't even really about drawing in money anymore. It is a means for extracting a mea culpa from corporate America for its shunning of Trump. One Trump aide rolled his eyes about tech billionaires, quote, making a pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago and cutting $1 million checks for the inauguration, as if that would patch up prior offenses. You know, I'm betting it will. I'm betting it will. Especially as your interests do not conflict with ours. I wish you all the best in your business. Consultants have been advising companies that it is in their interests to support the inauguration and secure a meeting with Trump. Quote, the old saying is, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, said Kevin Madden, a longtime Republican strategist who said he advises his corporate clients to be proactive in getting involved in policy discussions. There's going to be a lot of work being done in 2025 and 2026, and the process starts now. The president-elect appears to be reveling in the outreach. Everybody wants to be my friend, he posted on Truth Social last week. Some Republican strategists have also been instructing companies to scrub their websites and corporate policies of language that favors Democrats, including pledges they made to pause donations after January 6th. Some companies' news releases in the wake of the invasion of the Capitol are no longer online, including a letter from then Stanley Black & Decker CEO Jim Lorre condemning the invasion of the Capitol and vowing to, quote, use our voice to advocate for our democracy and a peaceful transition of power. God, this is just the latest blow for the liberal class.
Well, I remember that. I remember
they thought they were their friends. They thought the good. You remember how the libs were sharing around all of these op-eds from CEOs and CIA operatives as if they were their buddies? In the end, we're all in this together as Americans.
No, I remember. I remember when corporate America really tried to convince the country that they gave a damn about the events of January 6th. At the time, you know, we had our little audio show at the time, but at the time, I was actually, because the pandemic kind of devastated both my wife and I's main gigs.
We used to sing Tony Bennett standards.
Yeah, exactly. I was writing for Screen Rant. I was actually writing list articles for Screen Rant, and they had.
How long did you last at that job? Like a month?
No, I did like 6 months. I did a decent amount.
You were doing it that long?
Yeah. No, I forget why I stopped. I stopped because they changed the pay incentives to the point where it wouldn't be worth it anymore. But yeah, so I was writing these list movie articles, and you know, there's like a table with all your deadlines. So you pitch an article, and then they approve it, and they say, okay, you have it done by this day, this day, this day, and you know, they're list articles, so you got to bang them out real quick. So I was writing like 20 or 30 a week, and we get an email after January 6th, like, if any of you guys need time to reflect and heal and you miss a deadline, it's okay. Just let reflect and heal. What the fuck are you talking about? Reflect and heal. I'm writing the top 10 opening scenes of Clint Eastwood movies. What the hell I need time to reflect and heal? So like I have to gather my thoughts for this. But no, everybody was like, no,
Yeah,
corporate
yeah.
America was really, really upset. Or so they wanted us to believe.
So they wanted you to believe
Yeah.
that's what it all comes down to, and this is part of why the amounts are so much larger than they were for Biden. Because in the end, this is what they prefer.
Of
This is
course.
what they wanted.
Yes.
Hang on. We can get rid of these DEI departments and stop pretending to give a shit
Right. It's
about
easier.
diversity and
Right.
the part we don't have to go through this performative kabuki
Right.
of moral rectitude. We
If
don't
the
have to
public
do
doesn't
that
want it,
anymore.
we'd rather not do it. I mean, we only
Sure.
do it because we think the public wants it and we think it makes us look nice. If they
Well,
don't want us to be nice, we
the
won't be nice.
people
It's
in
cheaper
power
not to be
want us to
nice.
do. Well,
Yeah.
they think the people in power want them to do it.
Well, right. But now the
Now
people in
these
power.
people, yeah, they're
Yeah.
just going to give us a free hand.
Right.
We can do whatever we want, and we don't have to pretend not to be psychopaths.
Well, and that's a
We don't
reflection
have
of
to
public
put on
sentiment.
that act anymore.
That's a reflection of public sentiment because Trump won the popular vote. So they're like, all right. I
Right.
mean, if America doesn't want it, we won't do it. It's cheaper not to do it. It's cheaper not to do the DEI programs.
Stanley Black & Decker said it is donating 1 million, a major increase from the 25,000 it gave to Trump's first inauguration. The cryptocurrency trading platform Kraken donated 1 million, a spokeswoman said. I'm going to be very interested to get into that with Whitney Webb tomorrow because she speaks about this a lot. Like the idea that cryptocurrency is a tool of freedom rather than a tool by which they're going to enslave you by getting everyone on digital currency
Right.
is a fallacy. This is one, there's no hypocrisy there. I mean, sure, cryptocurrency trading platform, of course you'd want to back Trump. Kraken chairman Jesse Powell and CEO Arjun Sethi met with Trump throughout the campaign and have met with him since the election. Among the priorities they discussed, ending regulations by enforcement and ending the refusal by some banks to take crypto companies and their founders. Cryptocurrency exchange platform Coinbase, whose CEO met with Trump last month, donated 1 million to the inauguration. Kara Calvert, Coinbase's vice president for U.S. policy, said the company committed to backing Trump's transition and inauguration before the election and said the company is eager to work with the most pro-crypto administration in U.S. history. Intuit, the tax software maker, is donating 1 million to the fund after not backing either of the last two inaugurations. Shortly after Trump's election, the company's shares declined on a report that the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency was considering making a free tax filing app. While the company, don't those exist? I thought those exist.
I
I have a lady do
one?
it for me, and I don't trust myself, so I've never even looked into it.
Hmm.
While the company's CEO has said he doesn't think the Trump administration would invest resources into such a project, he has said he is personally engaging with the new administration and eager to partner on areas like a simplified tax code. Intuit said that it's, quote, expanded participation in the democratic process. And by that, we mean you buy politicians by donating to the inauguration.
Right.
Reflects its growth as a company and the policy issues that affect its consumers, and said it has had a decades-long commitment to bipartisan advocacy. So we talk a lot about how we have an oligarchy. I talk a lot about how really in many ways it does resemble a feudal aristocracy. This is very much the new king is coronated and the nobles come in from the provinces with their gifts in order to curry favor with the new leadership. Where is democracy? What, these guys are giving $1 million because they just want to make sure the food's good at the inauguration? That's why. Obviously, this is out in the open tribute. They're paying tribute to the new ruler who's going to have enormous influence over their interests. There's no democracy here. What democracy?
Well, it's also just really mask off because it's the markets in corporate America reacted the opposite way when Trump won in 2016 because there were all kinds of fears as to how competent he would be as an
They saw it as an
executive
aberration also.
manager. Right. They also did not know if he would be able to do the job, preside over the structures of the federal government. He was a showman until then. He was a complete wild card. Now there's one term under his belt. He won the popular vote. He passed tax cuts for the rich and corporations last time. They prefer a guy like Trump in there. That's why this time they reacted the complete opposite because all those reservations were gone. That uncertainty, there is less uncertainty now, much less uncertainty now than there was when he won back in 2016. In 2016, one of the sure signs that he was going to win on election night was that the futures tanked. And the opposite happened this time. On election night, around 10 o'clock at night, when it became obvious he was going to win, what happened? Market signs started going way up. And so it is not only is it, as you said, just out in the open oligarchy and bribery, it's mask off because they're showing you now what they really feel about a guy like Trump in the White House without any of those caveats. There were a lot of caveats last time. There were a lot of uncertainties last time. Markets don't like uncertainties. And so that explains that. Now with fewer uncertainties and a pro-corporate president incoming, it's party time. They love it. They love it. They're happy as could be. They don't care about January 6th, nothing. That was all nonsense.
Yeah, also last time they saw Trump as a glitch in the Matrix, and they still felt like their bread is buttered with the Lincoln Project people and the establishment Democrats. They still thought ultimately they're going to be the power we have to negotiate with long term. Trump will be out in a few years. The world's going in the direction of this faction. That's who we need to curry favor with. If we throw in our lot with them now, that's going to be rewarded later.
Right.
This is very different now, and this is part of why I say, and hey, I think Trump is going to fuck the country very badly. Do I think that the benefits will accrue to the Democrats? I'm very skeptical of that because it is hard to imagine what the Democrats could say to these people once they get a taste of what Trump and his cronies are going to do for them that are going to make them want to bring the Democrats back from the dead. Why would they? And the Democrats have absolutely no concept of what kind of message they would need to put together to actually get back in the game. They are just doubling down on being the gayer Republicans, as we'll see in your segment about the medals and the influencers coming to the White House. So I don't see them coming back. I really don't. Like, as bad as the Trump administration might be, I think people will sooner wind up empowering Republicans in an internecine fight in the party between more MAGA populists and Silicon Valley people. Like, I don't see the Democrats being where they turn after this.
Well, at this point, it is hard to imagine how they can put together a comeback. You know, stranger things have happened in political history, but at this point, it doesn't look good, which I think also explains why you're seeing an influx of corporate money into Trump world, because they're just less confident that any alternative will arise. So that gives them even more reason to put whatever reservations they have aside. Well, it looks like this is the only game in town for the time being. And so you got to bet on a winner.
They like this game better.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, once they go all in with this and it's entrenched, why would they go back to the Democrats?
Exactly.
Please clap.